Attention on deck. You're about to take command. Welcome to the bunker.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the bunker. I hope you enjoyed us bopping along to our intro there. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and we are back for another episode to talk all things Washington Commanders football. If my voice is a little croaky, it's probably because I'm still on cloud nine from yesterday. This podcast can be found on Apple Pod, Google Pod, and on YouTube. Just type in the Bunker Podcast where you will find all our content. As you can see, for those of you joining us on YouTube, I am joined by my illustrious co-host. First up with his hat that got some great feedback last week, may I add, so he's got it on again, is my good buddy, Scouse Andy, Mr. Andy Lockhart. Scouse, how are you, brother? Have you come down from cloud nine yet?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I've come down a little bit, but I'm still up there. Still up, maybe cloud 8 at the moment.
Cloud 8, okay. And a man that never usually gets above cloud 3 or cloud 2, as we were chatting in our little in our debrief before we hit record. Our good friend and my fellow co-host Jesse Martin. Jesse, need I ask you how things are across the pond?
You know, it's a new day, Andy. The sun is shining. It's bright. We have waking up on Monday mornings. It was few and far between in the old days, but this is a new day, and it's becoming a regular, and it's so nice. And we're still in that phase where we're not really sure what to do. We're like, okay, we're 6-2, man. This doesn't happen with this team. It doesn't happen with this team, but it's happening, and it's real, and it's fantastic.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day, and I'm feeling good, I believe, is how this. I'm not going to sing. Don't worry, everyone listening. Guys, the Washington Commanders 18, the Chicago Bears 15. Let's just get into it. I don't even know. There's no format to today's show. I mean, no one has like you just said there, Jesse. I've been over social media all day. I think I've watched that Hail Mary. I think I must be over 1,000 times by now. I've got to be today watching the Hail Mary pass from Jaden Daniels to Noah Brown. Jesse, have you ever experienced anything like last night? In your Washington fandom, we watch NFL games and you see it on these highlights and you're like, oh, someone so-and-so threw a Hail Mary. It's never been like that for us. Like you say, we're not sure how to act. We're not sure what to do. Last night, me and Scouse were chatting just before you joined the Zoom call. Last night, for them 5 or 10 minutes after the game, must be the feeling you get when your team achieves something as great as winning a Super Bowl, as great as winning a division. That 10 minutes, if you could bottle that 10 minutes after that game, what we the images that we were getting on TV, the power that we saw on social media from the Washington Commanders fans, that it went worldwide. It was here in the UK, it was all over there in the States, it was Europe. Jesse, just explain to me the emotions that you went through watching the last 20 seconds of that game.
Well,
actually, hang on. Side note, someone didn't know that we had won until we recorded our post game.
My emotions at that point in time was pissed off because I was mad. There was 23 seconds left on the clock, and I turned it off.
So for those that don't know, we do a post-game mashup with myself.
These part-timers.
Yeah, the Bunker, the Bleeding Burgundy, and the 1 Point Safety Show. We all have a little mashup. After every game, we do a post-game show, which is broadcast by the Bleeding Burgundy YouTube show. Last night, for those that you want to laugh, we logged on. There was myself, Hartley, Jesse Martin, John Taman, and Max Taman, to which John Taman had to point out to a certain Jesse Martin on this show right now that the Commanders had won. His reaction was priceless. What? We won? We won? This is the best moving game of football ever. So Jesse found out live on air. So let's start with you then, brother. Jesse, he's a part-time fan. He doesn't stay to the end. I'm joking, of course. Scouse, sum up to me
Never finish, Martin.
That's a whole different podcast. Scouse, sum up to me the last minute of that game, the emotions that you felt.
Oh,
You know,
I was raging. Oh my, yeah, yeah, man. I mean, after we dominated the whole game, the difference was there that we couldn't get it in the end zone. We just couldn't get it in there, and we had obviously 3 touchdowns chalked off. So again, I was even more angry because this game shouldn't have been this close. We should have scored. You know, any of those touchdowns stood. The game was over way before then. But obviously they didn't, and you know whatever. So I was just raging, sitting there like typical Washington, but back to the way it was last season and the year before and the years before that. You feel that kind of PTSD, don't you? Or kind of blowing leads right at the end of games and then end up losing the game. So, and then obviously Jesus incarnate,
Miracle.
Jesus
Andy,
incarnate, Jane Daniels produces something out like a 65-yard throw after
with busted
13
ribs,
seconds, which is the longest ever throw time per play ever. And it just, say the miracle happened, and then you believe. Then now you start thinking,
we're
maybe
6-2.
the gods are on our side for a change. Maybe we're gonna do something fucking different. Maybe we're gonna go all the way. And then you start thinking those stupid things, but it was just so amazing. That feeling when it just fell to Brown in the end zone was just unreal.
When I mean we were chatting. Sorry, Jesse. No, Jesse, go on. You wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say, watch it as you said, Andy. Watching that today, I watched that replay over and over again, but with the edit of the Titanic music behind it, and
my God,
it gave me
yeah.
chills
Yeah.
every
He
fucking
cried.
time.
I was like, I'm sitting at work. My mate's looking at me. I was working with today. He's like, "Are you okay? You look a bit emotional." I'm like, "Oh, I can't." Me and Scouse were chatting before we hit record.
Which is that guy?
It must be
Stevenson.
This must be that if you could bottle that moment, like I said at the start, this must be the feeling you get when your team really do achieve something. When you win a Super Bowl, when you win a championship, that just proved to you what sleeping giants Washington DC is. Washington DC sports. I've been at Northwest Stadium, formerly known as FedEx Field, many times now. I can't imagine the feeling that was in that stadium last night. We lived vicariously through all our friends that were there. Jason Wright was, he filmed it. Rally Captain filmed it. The Hog Farmers filmed it. I think I've watched all of the. LJ had some great footage that she put out there today. Tim Meek, everyone that we know and love was at that game. We lived vicariously through them. Just to be in that stadium and to get that feeling of us actually doing that. We don't have this in Washington. This doesn't happen to us. We do, like what Scouse said earlier. We don't put the ball in the end zone. We don't get the touchdowns. We get the last minute drama, but it's always against us. We sit in here talking podcast after podcast, year after year, of how we've blown a lead or how we've let a game slip. Last night, I've said this many times, it's what it must be like to be an actual proper NFL fan. We got to experience it. We got to prove to everyone again on the world stage, on the national stage, why this team is different, why this organization is different now, why we do have a legitimate bona fide stud as a quarterback. Boo-hoo, all you crying Bears fans today that are still crying. I've heard some crazy comparisons that we'll get into. Caleb, 10 for 24, 131 yards, by the way. JD, 21 for 38, 326 yards. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
There was with 10 minutes left to go in the game. Caleb Williams had 33 yards. So that argument is over with. It's done. It's over with.
Yeah. Boys, let's try and break down this game. Let's try and break it down. Sorry, go on, Scouts.
No, it was just crazy because, I say Williams. I think he got like 95 yards in the last 10 minutes of the game, and obviously they had that nice drive and, got the touchdown and the 2-pointer and whatever. But yeah, man, I mean, I just loved his face. When you see the replay of those, obviously it going into the end zone, then you see like Williams just watching it. And he's like,
the crowd.
And you see him walk up in an absolute huff, and I loved it.
Yeah, as a great elite player once said, "You ain't shit." No, I can't remember his name. He's elite though. Boys, let's try and break down the game.
He'd be elite if he would have ran fast enough for that touchdown.
But Jesse, he's getting there. That's right. I think someone sent in a question for you, Jesse, which we're going to get to later. That boy is getting there. Let's try and break down the game. This episode easily at one stage last night with about 2 minutes to go was going to be titled Missed Opportunities. Jesse, before
Mm-hmm.
the crazy last 20 seconds of the game, was this a big missed opportunity potentially happening for the Washington Commanders? Because we dominated the game, and all these idiots are out there. I mean, got passing yards were 313 compared to the Bears 111. We did everything but put the ball in the end zone. It was nigh on the perfect game until we got to the business end of the field. Jesse, were you like many of us as we were watching the game, as we were tweeting, as we were chatting on our WhatsApp group, as the voice notes were going backwards and forwards? Was this game potentially, until the craziness of the end, going to be a game of missed opportunities?
Absolutely. I mean, as both you and Scal stated, we were dominant in this game, in every facet of it until we got into the red zone. And this is becoming a recurring issue. I think it's not necessarily issue yet. Well, not a major one yet, but it's going to get us in trouble if we don't fix it. And the shoot ourselves in the foot penalties as well. You know,
St. Juice.
these procedural the men downfield, ineligible downfield. This is happening a lot lately, and you know that took a touchdown off the board when that play could have totally been avoided, and that's something that's going to have to change. We got lucky, and to be honest with you, there's some issues with it. And if the Bears had a better coaching staff, we're having a different conversation today. The Bears blew it. I mean, they had, and we would have deserved to lose that game if we didn't hit that Hail Mary. Let's be real honest, because we didn't capitalize on the all the red zone trips. I mean, all we needed was one of those touchdowns to hit, but we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. Zach Ertz, you know, argument if you want. He didn't catch that ball. I know a lot of people on Twitter thought that was a touchdown, but the ball clearly moved. And then who was it? Was it Cosme or Allegretti that did the legal man downfield?
Cosme, wasn't it?
It's
just
Cosme, yeah.
It's happening too much. Cosme has not played well the past few weeks. He's probably been our worst offensive lineman, if we're being honest. But our coaching staff is a lot more competent than the coaching staff that was on the other side of the field. I'll put it to you that way.
Scouse, what did you make? Like Jesse just said, putting the ball, scoring a touchdown, put it in, you know, down in the red zone. Is this something that needs to be addressed as we move forward, as we go in? So we're going to the Giants this weekend. I mean, I think Stevie Wonder and his 10 wives could turn up and beat them probably. But, you know, I'm hoping that's going to be a win.
Very Washington thing, though, isn't it, that we fuck up against teams like that?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, you know, we'll touch on that at the end of the show. I think we're now over that hump, and I pray this clip doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. I think the days of us, you know, shit in the bed against the New York Giants and against teams that we should beat. I think Dan Quinn's now drummed that into this team. I don't think they'll let that happen. I think they'll ride this wave today. Enjoy today. You've got to enjoy, even someone that's played in the game, you know, all this one game at a time. Let these boys enjoy what happened last night, because, you know, their moments are few and far between in football, and they practice damn hard not to enjoy. So enjoy today. But yeah, don't let it all be this time next week we're sitting here going, Hail Mary didn't really matter because we went and shit the bed against the New York Giants. Scouse, how are you fixing the issues putting when we get down into the red zone? What are you seeing there? Is it a coaching thing? Is it a scheme thing? Is it the penalties that are killing us? Because I couldn't really put my finger on it last night, because we were getting in them positions. It's just you know, they say this is a game of inches, this is a game of yards. For me last night, it really was. And it was just the fundamental things that we might need to tweak here and there. But like Jesse says, we've now got a coaching staff that I'm probably competent in trusting, that we, you know, with Kingsbury and Quinn, etc., etc. Of seasons gone by, I'm probably thinking, oh shit, we could be in trouble. I don't trust Jay Gruden to get these issues sorted. In your opinion, fixable issues? Worried about what you saw putting the, you know, scoring touchdowns and in the red zone last night? How are you seeing it? Was it a game that potentially we got lucky on? You create your own luck in the NFL. I thought we dominated the game. There's no point dominating a game, though, if you can't put points on the board.
Well, that's the whole game, isn't it? Score more points than the opponent, and we didn't do it well yesterday. Well, we didn't. Let's face it, we only scored 18 points, even with the Hail Mary. So, you know, but yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I'm still buoyed by the fact that we won that game, and the things that you mentioned there about the pre-snap penalties and the missed chances, those things are fixable, and they are fixable week to week. Why? Because we've already done it before. Like yesterday's offensive performance reminded me a lot of the Giants game when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
We were good in between the 20s and then shit the bed when it came to the end zone. And relied on Seabert seven field goals to get the win. Defense held out, did enough. Same type of thing yesterday. And then I was thinking, we had loads of pre-snap penalties in the red zone there. Another reason what killed our drives in that game. But we've seen it before. From that week to the next week, there was virtually no penalties until the fourth quarter of the next game. I mean, that shows that coaching can get through to them and the players can actually respond in a very quick, short space of time. So that for me, boys, it kind of gives me hope that next week it'll be a lot cleaner game. Do you know what I mean? From that side of things.
Jesse, how are you viewing it? I mean, we put ourselves in a position to really blow them out by half time if we wanted to. Mm-hmm. There's not many teams that are going to do that to this Bears defense. The Bears fans were waxing lyrical before the game. It was all like Caleb and JD. I get that, but they were like, "This defense is elite. You're not going to be able to put on 30 to 40 points against this team." Potentially, we could have put 20 plus on them by halftime. Was it worrying, or was it just a blip, really, that we couldn't put, because we have been putting the ball, when we've been getting down into the red zone, we have been scoring points. We've probably scored more points this season than we have in many seasons gone by. Was last night, Jesse, in your opinion, just a little blip, really, and something that is, like Scout says, that we can fix?
I think the mistakes that were made are fixable. And yes, we should have been up 21-0 at the half, and maybe even more. We had that team. That team could not move the ball on us whatsoever. Caleb Williams was playing like a freaking a middle school quarterback. He was terrible, except for the last half of the fourth quarter, and we didn't take advantage of it. And again, more experienced offense, more experienced coaching staff, or better coaching staff, not going to let that slide. We got to when we're moving the ball the way that we are, all 11 players have to play as one. And if one person makes a mistake, everybody makes a mistake. And then again, that's going back to shooting yourself in the foot with the penalties or drop passes. I mean, we've had a lot of drop passes. Terry dropped a pass. Noah Brown dropped a pass that was right in his fucking hands.
Numbers, yeah.
That all that stuff can compile, and one mistake can ruin a drive. Period. Injuries to Lucas did not help us at all. Hopefully Coleman and Lucas will be back next week, because we don't want Trent Scott back there at left tackle protecting Jaden's blind side. And for everybody saying that, Jaden was perfectly healthy, I thought he was a little tight at some points in the game, at parts in the game. I think his running ability was fine, but again, it all compiles into one. One person makes a mistake and it can just ruin the whole entire drive. So the mistakes that are being made can get fixed, and hopefully it's just a blip, because we got to score. You got to score points to win, man. You got to score points. We want to keep that scoring title. We've been in the lead in scoring. Well, probably not now. I think the Ravens probably went ahead of us, but yeah, we got to do better in the red zone, period.
I mean, don't forget, though, the record that Chicago came in with their defense, they had 12 games straight of keeping teams under 21 points.
Yeah.
12 straight. And I mean,
but also,
so they kept their record of not scoring in the first quarter. They hadn't scored in the first. They kept that as well, didn't they?
But
their two best defenders didn't play. Their two best defensive players did not play yesterday either.
Yeah, true.
Brisker and Gordon. I think it's Gordon.
Yeah, the two safeties, aren't they? Safeties, both of them. I mean, I get
Safety
that. I
and
mean, I get
corner.
that. But just saying like that, actually, this defense is no joke. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get at. Even though
No, it's not. It's a
three
good
TVs
defense. It's a
chalked
good
off.
defense.
Let's
But
how
look,
good
look
was
at the defense
our
that we're
defense?
coming up to play.
How good was our defense though? Sheesh. I mean, we talked last week about like players like Newton having to step up. I mean, Quan Martin. I mean, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louv. Oh my great Gideon and Jesus Christ! I thought that's probably one of the best defensive games I've seen from a Commanders team. Jesse, you've been watching this team since you come out of your mother's womb. Was that up there with one of the best defensive games that you've seen? Because they're getting some great national coverage. I've seen a little bit of Good Morning Football today. A lot of people putting this win as exciting as the end of the game was, and it was, and we're going to talk about that until the cows come home and twice on Sundays. Was this one of the best defensive games that you've seen from this Washington Commanders team?
I mean, it was up there, within the past few years. I guess. I think a lot of it, to be honest with you. I mean, Caleb didn't play good at all. He looked like he was a deer in headlights, and I'd like to get some more information before I decide that too, because I mean, there was a couple of plays that their receivers were open and he just missed them. I kind of want to see the all 22 film before I say, hey, did really St. Juice lock everybody down until the fourth quarter? Same goes with Sanders still and the other defensive backs, because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't throw the ball. I mean, he completed 4 passes. He was 4 for like 14 or something like that going into the fourth quarter with only 33 yards. So was it our defense? You'd have to assume, yeah, at least for the most part.
Their passing average was 4.6.
But what I really enjoyed is the defensive line. And dare I say it, is our defensive line playing better without John Allen?
In a word, yes.
I agree. I mean, I think Newton was superb.
I thought he was amazing.
Yeah.
I say he didn't miss a beat. If he didn't miss John Allen, that's a high praise. Especially for a rookie as well.
Yeah. It seems to me that, Newton is really coming into his own. And that was a very, very smart pickup by Adam Peters after most of the NFL or most of our fan base was up in arms when that draft pick was called out in April.
Adam Peters has got to take so much credit for what's going on right now with this team, with this organization. Boys, let's one guy that we talk about a lot on this show, and I thought last night again had a great standout game, again over 100 yards. Terry, 5 receptions for 125 yards. Jesse, a few questions coming for you, which we're going to get into. A lot of them were saying, now, can we speak to Jesse about this guy being elite? I heard him called elite 3 times today, 2 on national radio and 1 on Washington radio. Is the needle moving any which way but for you? Are you getting in the boat with me and Scouse? Are you coming aboard the good ship, Terry McLaurin?
Terry's a great receiver. Okay, there's no denying that whatsoever.
Terry is my Wiley.
Honestly,
you guys are acting like I hate Terry. I don't. I love the guy, and I'm thankful that he's on the team. But again,
week in, week out, he's not
a Jamar Chase. He's not a Justin Jefferson. He's not an Amon-Ra St. Brown. But he's a very, very good receiver. And him and Jaden Daniels, man, God, I wish we had Jaden Daniels like earlier on in Terry's career. That would have been so freaking awesome.
He's at the peak
but
of his
I'm
powers
happy
now.
for Terry now that he's got a real quarterback, so he can really, get the yards that he deserves. But his skill set doesn't quantify him as an elite receiver.
Scouts, talking of skill sets, talk to me, Benjamin St. Juice. If I could have jumped
I mean, what can you say about the guy? I mean, we all know what he's about. We all know what he does every single play. I mean, he could be called for holding or PI every single pass play. He really could. He's so handsy, it's unreal. And in big, and teams know this in the big crucial downs, the big when they gotta have something. Where did he go? You throw it deep over to St. Just, and St. Just happily obliges and gives a PI or hold away.
He'll either give it up, he'll give up this catch, or he'll give up a pass interference.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Even for that PI as well by the end of the game, the ball was uncatchable anyway. They still fucking did it. You know, that guy wasn't going to catch that ball. There was no way. There's way too overthrown. And Machine Ghost, what's he do? Yeah, we'll tug him back. The guy,
I think
he looks good. The next is absolutely awful.
I think I said this on the Bleeding Burgundy maybe last week. It's, you know, I think sometimes we're a little bit unfair to St. Juice in the fact that he's being asked to do something that he clearly can't do. And I don't think it's not by his choice. It's just because we don't have a number one cornerback. You know, we don't even have a number two cornerback. I mean, hell, we're playing a nickel cornerback on the outside out of necessity. You know what I mean? So St. Juice is clearly not a number one cornerback, but he's being asked to play that. And sometimes I think that kind of goes over our heads a little bit. And the fact that he shouldn't be guarding these number one receivers because he doesn't have the skill set to guard these number one receivers. Is that fair?
I'm with you. I mean, I wanted to jump through. Obviously, we were all in the. I know we have our WhatsApp chat going on during the game day, and that is one of the liveliest places to be. Yeah, I just don't think he's good enough to play in the NFL. I don't. I really don't. I think he could cost us games down the line. And if we put
he has cost us.
Well, he has cost us games, but we've kind of Jaden's dug us out, or Terry's, or we have things like the Noah Brown things last night. He has cost us games, but I'm now looking at this team thinking, if we make a playoff game and he's on the field and it's close, is he someone that you're looking around going, oh, Jesus Christ, this guy, he couldn't just cost us a game. Could cost us a fucking division. He could cost us a championship. He could cost, heaven forbid, he could cost us. I don't know where this season's going. He could cost us,
Andy,
mini flatters.
But I think my point is not like my point is there is nobody better for him.
It's got
to play in front of him, though. That's the thing. Now, if you want to blame anybody, I think you need to blame the powers that be, the powers that picks the players, the powers that goes after free agents. It's not his fault. He doesn't have that skill set. He's put in that position. And what he really is a depth piece at most, I think. At most.
When you look at St. Ghost's actual, like, kind of physical attributes, you think he could be that cornerback one. He's 6'3", he's not lightning, but he's got some quickness to him. He's a big lad. He can go up against the big receivers, but why every time? Why does he always get beat so easily? And where's his skill set? Because where is he losing it? Do you know what I mean? Like, what stops him being a CB1?
I mean, just because you're 6'3" and 215 doesn't mean that you should be able to stick like glue to number one receivers, though. Is what I'm getting at.
But he never seems to learn from his mistakes, does he? Never.
He's always holding, grabbing someone.
He's honest about it too, though. That's the thing.
At least he knows his shit.
He said it 2 weeks ago when he had that interview. He said, that's how I play, and I'm not going to change how y'all remember that a couple of weeks ago when he gave up PF. He was like, well, that's how I play. I'm a physical, aggressive cornerback, and Dan Quinn backed him up on it. I mean, again, that's the best cornerback that we have, besides Sanderstill, and they're not, Sanderstill's not really an outside corner. That's something that we're going to have to fix in the offseason.
How we fix it now?
And hopefully, hopefully
we fix it now.
I'm hoping we make a trade.
We've got
before the damn deadline.
We should do, man. A 6-2. We should be looking for cornerback, at least a corner.
Absolutely.
Better if we get a D end as well. I mean, but corner 100% has to be. At least try to be addressed.
I'm liking how our DNs are playing right now, man. I think our DNs are playing pretty damn good. I think
we just need a little bit more depth as well, though. You know what I mean? Like, just in case a Fowler gets, because Cleveland Fellows playing hurt, and Fowler's always on the injury list, and you're thinking,
If you want to make a run,
go
it
down
can't
into-
hurt. If you want to make a run, it can't hurt to have any depth, can it? At the end of the day, you know.
That's why I'd look into both positions personally.
Sensible football.
Stevie's number one, obviously. That's the main position we need. But I mean, the end as well. I think we've definitely got to look into it anyway, at the very least, see what we can get. If
And we're an attractive proposition now, whereas in the past, people are
6
like,
and 2, yeah,
"Fuck
man.
that, I'm not going there." You know
Max
what I mean?
Crosby might want to
Yeah.
come.
People now look at it and go, "Hang on a minute." Look, I knew he'd shake his head at that comment.
I know, yeah, Jesse's like
Those
that.
watching on YouTube, look at Jesse's reaction.
Giving up
If
two
you listen
fucking
on audio,
first rounds to even start a conversation with
if you're
that
listening
shit.
on the audio, make sure you come over to the YouTube just so you can see Jesse's reaction to that. Boys, the talk going into this game was obviously Jaden Daniels, his injury, his ribs. Jesse, how do you think I'm going to stop calling him a young rook. How do you think he handled the injury? There was obviously he was getting taped up a lot when he went to the sidelines. That was just a precaution. That was just, hey, look, let's look after him. You could tell he was playing. I mean, Tony Romo made the comments during the game that he looked a little bit off. That the throws might not have been on point as they were. For me personally, I thought the kid showed great guts, great heart. He played like he hadn't just joined the league. He played like he'd been in the league 10 years. You know, some of the things that Romo was calling, you know, as much as we might hate Tony Romo for who he played for and what he'd done, but he was calling things that Jaden should be doing, and he'd done them on the fly. And Romo was like more impressed than anyone out there. How impressed were you with what you saw from our new superstar quarterback?
Very impressed. I mean, how could you not be impressed with what Jaden Daniels has done in coming in off of a couple walkthroughs, clearly banged up, but he fought through it and was almost himself. I mean, the third play of the game, they ran a read option to the right side, and just it looked like Jaden, and then he juked I forget when their linebacker right out of his shoes on that other play. I mean, he has balls to steal, and he sat in there. He got hit multiple times. The Bears were clearly coming after him, wanting to rattle him, knowing that he was hurting, and he got right back up every time and shook it off and
One says
went to
sweat
the next
fucking nearly
play.
killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about
Which that should have been two
hip
penalties right there.
Yeah.
That was a hip drop and
hip
a
drop.
fucking horse
Taman
collar.
was doing his nut in our group chat, and I don't blame him. Brief discuss just before I get your opinion on Jaden. How bad were the fucking officials, by the way? Can we please, the NFL? I mean, some
They
of the
tried to make us lose that game.
They did not want us to win that game. I'm not here to bleat, and you know we won, and I'm great we won, but the officiating in the NFL, my God, it's got to get better. Some of the we were about to take snaps with the referee standing on the. I thought the referee was playing left tackle at one stage.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the one where the clock was still churning, and he was still stood there in front of the fucking in front of Jaden?
See, what a lot of people don't understand. No, a lot of people don't understand what's happening there. When we substitute, okay, we have to allow the other team to substitute.
Yeah, but they're on our side of the ball.
That is why the ref. That's why the ref stands on the ball until the other team gets over and gets set.
Stops, or
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, they should bring in something where the fucking play clock doesn't keep moving, because get out of the fucking way, dude.
It gives like 2 seconds.
That's not the rules, though. It's like this all across the NFL. The ref, if we substitute, we have to give the opportunity for the other team to substitute, give them the adequate time to substitute. So in reality, it's our fault. It's the team's fault for substituting later.
Fuck you, Jason.
Then we should.
Jesse, the ref.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm just. Listen,
I was like, I don't agree with the word you said, but you make a
I
good
dug
point.
into the rule, and that's the rule. And if anything, if we want that to change, that's on us. Go ahead and get our substitutes in faster, so it leaves more time on the clock.
Scouse, what did you make of Jaden and what you've seen? Like you said, the talk of the whole week, the Bears fans, he's not winning Rookie of the Week this week. You guys got lucky. I saw some idiot on Twitter still today talking.
Jaden's going to win Rookie of the Week.
Yeah, oh my God, he's going to be great.
Rookie of the Year, mate.
Because our whole fan base is going to vote for him a million times.
Yeah, honestly, I am. Scouse, what did you make of him? Obviously, coming into the week, hardly practiced, had the rib injury. you could kind of tell that he was carrying something, obviously, but like Jesse said, I mean, he was scrambling well. Big shout out to Cliff Kingsbury as well, because I think they limited the big call plays when they really had to say to him, "Hey, look, we need you to be you on this play." You know, the B-Rob was getting a hell of a lot of work at the start of the game. They were running him like a freight train down the middle. Jaden wasn't putting himself in the positions to get hurt at the start of the game. I thought they eased him into it, which was really good. You know, if only we had done that in years gone by. I like RG3 in his knee. You know,
His ego wouldn't let him know. That's the problem with RG.
Exactly. But I thought Kingsbury, I thought we handled Jaden's injury well last night. Teams of old, or coaching staffs of old, would have flogged him like a dead horse. I thought we managed the big plays that he had when we needed him to launch the ball. He did that. That catch to Terry down the sidelines was incredible. How do you think that that JD handled the game?
I mean, he handled it. He handled it like a champ. You know what I mean? Like he really did. You know, there is definitely plays there you get left out on the field because you threw the ball too early because his timing was off.
The one to Terry on third down
one,
yeah.
You didn't want to get, and there's a lot of balls thrown into the dirt just before the receiver, and a lot of his misses were those type of throws, thinking, "Shit, I'm going to get hit here." And like sometimes he did take a hit. Don't get me wrong, he didn't like shit out of every tackle. It wasn't like that, but you could just see. He's like you saw this guy coming. He just rushed that throw, just a split second, but it's enough to make him less accurate. And obviously, when you're playing hurt, you're not going to be as good as you are when you're 100%. No one is, So there's small things there, but again, overall, as a rook, I mean, as Jesse mentioned, he's got balls to steal. He's willing to put himself in there, and he hasn't played. You see, he did no practice at all really until I think Saturday, or late Friday even. He did a good workout with him and see if he could handle it, and obviously he felt good enough to play. But I would have kept him out personally this week, but obviously they know better and we got the result, so I'm happy with that. I'd say overall, Jaden's got everything you need from a quarterback standpoint. It's just longevity for him, I think.
Yeah. Just before
keep him healthy.
You've got to. I mean,
that's the key.
Did they rest him for the Giants? I'm just saying, did they rest him for the Giants game? I don't want to say it's only the Giants. But
hey, it's in division game.
Yeah, I know. A lot. I've seen a few comments today about that. Just before we get into the fan questions, I asked it last week, Jesse Scouse. I'll ask it again. I'm going to keep asking it every week just to see where we are as fans and as a fan base. We're now 6-2, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
If this team now don't make the playoffs, is it a failed season?
It would be a travesty. It would be a failure.
Okay. Scouse?
Agreed. You can't have such a good start to the season like we've had now and then not make it. What do we need?
Win the division?
We need three. Just to make the playoffs, we need 3 more wins. I think 9 wins tends to get you in, especially the seventh.
I don't know about this year though.
I mean, what do you mean? We are number 2 overall, aren't we, in the NFC?
Right now,
but
you have as we sit here tonight,
you have the NFC North is going to have probably 3 teams in there, and the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings, and you got the NFC South who has the Falcons and the Bucks. You're going to need to win double digits to get into the playoffs this year for the wild card.
Okay, so say we need 10.
So we got to keep the foot on the gas.
Just like I put on Twitter today, we can't get into all the people that come back to. I think 56 people so far have replied. Jesse Scouse, I put up like what next. I know it's one game at a time, but just looking at the schedule now, if you look at the Giants this weekend, you'd like to think that, but like Scouse says earlier, this is the Giants. I don't know what happens when we go up to New York. Something happens to us. Let's hope that we've got that over that hoodoo. We then have the Steelers, and then we have back-to-back divisional games. So, Jesse, by the end of November, my question on social media today was, by the end of November, could the NFC East pretty much be wrapped up? And that's not me sitting here with a big head. That's just me looking at the schedule, looking at the way this team's playing. We have the Giants on the road. I'm gonna like to think this is the old Washington fan in me coming out now. You can hear it. I should just be sitting there going, yeah, we're gonna go in there and smoke them, like I said when we played the Bengals. And we should go into New York and win. Let's put it that way. The Steelers, Northwest Stadium. Who knows what's going to happen there? Potentially could win. Then you look at Philly and the Cowboys. Jesse, by the end of November, could we have the NFC East wrapped up?
No. And the reason why I'm saying is Philly is starting to come on now.
Yeah, they played well
they're
yesterday.
playing
They played
very,
really
very
well
good,
yesterday.
and I think it's going to come down to the wire. Obviously, we're leading the division right now, but we're only a half a game up because they had a bye.
Yeah.
You know, they got pretty much got the same record as us. So that Philly game is going to be extremely important, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to win that game, to be honest with you. And I think I see us. Steelers are a good team too, man. I think
Always
there's an
possible.
opportunity to go 3-1, but there's also an opportunity to go 1-3 in these next 4 games, depending. Dallas is
Does
Dr.
does the
Jekyll, Mr.
season
Hyde.
is the season not season defining these next 4 games though? If
This is the most important
if we go
stretch.
2-2, would you be happy?
I don't think I'd be happy,
You're still
but
in the
I
hunt. Are you
wouldn't
still you're
hate
still in the
it.
hunt? You're still in the hunt at 2-2?
That would make us 8-4
Do you
and
lose
in
to?
good position. But I really want us to go 3-1 in this, and we're gonna. I think we can beat the Cowboys, but we're gonna have to beat one of either the Steelers or the Eagles to really put a stamp on it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, if we can come out of this little stretch now, and I know everyone's been tweeting us today, it's one game at a time, and I get that. But hey, look, we're fans. We don't often get to do this. We usually our season's over by now. Usually we're sitting here just doing podcasts for the
Well, the
sake of it.
Giants, like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, the season's usually done by now.
We're usually
And
2-6 and not 6-2 right now.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm looking. I'm
You got
Jesse.
4 wins last year. That's 6 already.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, I'm kind of looking at this now. I'm with you. If this mini stretch now of these 4 games, if we can come out and we have 9 wins, if we're 1 win away from double digits by the end of this little mini stretch, and then we go into the bye, we got a late bye again.
Week
My God,
14.
I will be absolutely furious if we don't play playoff football in January. I'm with you, boys. I think it'll be a travesty now if we don't.
We're 9-3 by the end of the stretch. We're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boys,
I mean,
let's end.
I mean,
No, go on.
yeah, that's my thought on it. I think you got to go at least 2-2 minimum. I think
Yeah.
minimum, and it depends
Minimum.
who you lose to as well. Like, for example, if we lose to Philly, that's not good for us against them on the head-to-heads in the record and division. So, if we can get that win against them, and say even if we drop the game against the Steelers or whatever, because Dallas, even if Dallas beat us, Dallas are not that good. They're nearly done. They're nearly done already.
We still
Dallas
can't
team.
afford to lose to them.
And we played them last
Yeah,
game
we
of the
got
season,
them.
don't we? Yeah,
So we could get away with it.
we end the season with divisional games as well. Let's not forget that.
But by then, Dallas should be out. I mean, okay, they might want to play party pooper, maybe, but in general,
By that Dallas game,
be
we
gone
could be
by then.
we could be resting everyone. Hopefully, that'll be the
the-
dream
the-
scenario. The dream.
the other thing I was going to
scenario.
mention, these 4 games all against they're in obviously 3 in division teams, but it's always very, very physical.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Steelers
yeah.
very physical
You
as well.
never know with these
Injuries,
divisional.
man.
Even if we got the better team, even if we got the better team, these divisional games can go either way, man.
They always do. They always do. They're always knife edge, or at least close up until a certain point, and then whatever happens. But that's the thing, is the injuries as well. Now, we're already banged up on the O line. You mentioned left tackle before. Hopefully Coleman's back. I think they took it easy with him this week, which is great for next week because I think he'll be starting. I think Lucas was really hobbling off at the end of the game. They're really struggling.
He was in a boot. He was in a boot
So
in the
that's
locker
never
room
a good
after the
sign.
game.
That's never a good sign.
No.
So, especially back in 1 week, highly unlikely. So, they're very physical games. Can we get through these games without being too banged up, without getting too many injuries as well? Because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Boys, as always, let's end the show with some fan questions. I'll do them in the order that they come in. Cameron McDonald, a big shout out to you up there in jolly old Scotland. Is a good question. How much are flights to Washington in January? Cameron, trust me, Scott, and Scouse have already looked. I promise you, if we are in the playoffs, by hook or crook, I'm on a plane. I don't care if I've got to lay in the swamp outside Jesse's house. I'm going. It's been on my bucket list since I've been a fan to actually attend a Washington, then Redskins, now Commanders game in the playoffs. It's on my bucket list.
It'd be great to have a home playoff game.
Oh
That's for
my
damn
God,
sure.
could you imagine?
I'll win the division, man. Gotta win
If
the
anyone,
division.
and I've stopped drinking now, so if anyone does need to buy a kidney, It's quite good. I need to. I need to
Kidneys are
get some
good now.
tickets. Cameron, thanks for the question. Simon would like to know. He says, "Has anyone seen the video of the Bears number 29 taunting the crowd whilst the players on?" I mean, sheesh. I mean,
What a pathetic display of idiocy.
what do you say about that? That clip is going to haunt him for the
I
rest
loved it.
of his career.
Mhm.
Apparently, someone said he had to come out on Twitter and apologize.
Yeah,
He did.
he got absolutely blasted by his own fans as well.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
Someone just said to him, I remember this tweet, it made me laugh so much. He just went, he didn't even say anything else, just went, just put the chips in the bag, will you?
Wow.
Like you are fucking back on, like you're back at McDonald's or wherever the hell you're going to be next week.
I love the reaction of
hilarious, man.
everyone. Like, I like the reaction of all the Washington staff that were trying to they knew they weren't technically allowed to run in and hug the players, but
Yeah.
and absolutely incredible. Solid. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Chris would like to know, as much as a Hail Mary requires a bit of good fortune, how impressed are we by all the execution and the design? They ran a diamond with one receiver in front, two in the middle, Brown at the back, and then the skill of Jaden to launch it right into place and not sling it out of bounds was really impressive. I mean, Jesse Scouse, how impressed were you with the last 2 seconds of the game? And actually, with a man with suspected injured ribs, everyone was, and I think Romo mentioned, oh, did the Commanders
Put Mariota in.
Yeah, did they put Mariota in? I'm screaming at my TV going, if they put Mariota in, I'm slinging my TV out the window. I mean, how impressed when now we can kind of look at it in the cold light of day and we're not all delirious and, going at 100 mile an hour. The actual, when you look at it, I know it got tipped and et cetera, et cetera. Fair play to Jaden for getting that ball down there, right?
It was supposed to get tipped. That's how it's drawn up. You have your man in the middle that's supposed to try to tip it up, and gives the Noah Brown receiver a chance to get it. It's how they practice it, and they did practice it. Quinn said in his press
Terry
conference,
said as well, they've been
Weinstein also
practicing it.
said, yeah. Bram Weinstein said he saw them every week practice that particular play, and it went. The execution was perfect. Now the problem was on the Chicago side, the same guy that was hollering at the crowd and was out of the play and took him 4 seconds to get, was supposed to be the man that was supposed to cover Noah Brown. But the idiot, and he's the one that actually tipped the ball up when he was supposed to be back there. So thank you, Mr. Dumbass, for winning that game for us.
I'm saying, let's go back to Mackey's next week. He'd well going to be cut, that dude.
Would you like fries with that?
You ain't shit, bro.
You ain't shit.
Scout. He must have been talking smack all game for Terry to come out and say something like that, because he never does stuff like that, Terry. Do you know what I mean? So he must have really wound him up throughout the game.
Hey, if you wind up the elite, that's how they react. Call me Ramsey. Scouse, you can take this one. Given our running and short passing games are otherwise so creative and effective, why do we seem so devoid of ideas when it comes to the red zone? Feels like we tighten up and stick to the obvious, disregarding the creativity that gets us up there so often in the first place.
Well, don't forget, it's also that's the money area. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants to get touchdown every single time when you get in the red zone. It's impossible. I think we're still number one in the league, and we didn't even get in the end zone in the red zone yesterday. So that just tells you
we're like 17th in red zone efficiency
now. Where are you? I thought scoring drives in the red zone.
Scoring points. That's different. In red zone percentage, we're
all I can give a shit about is the scoring point stat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Go on. So Scott's finish.
It is difficult, but obviously the idea is, I mean, it's kind of hard to put the finger on it, this one, because you've got a nice play caller there, and they should use a little bit more kind of razzle dazzle, misdirection. They're not using a lot of that in the red zone. I think sometimes that could be quite useful. But yeah, I don't know why they go back to kind of normal type stuff. I'm unsure. Maybe because it's tested.
I also think too,
playing it safe,
not wanting them to run Jaden, protecting Jaden a little bit too. they kind of took some stuff away. They didn't want to run him into the end zone because that's where you get hit hard going in there. And also we got to remember the defense gets paid too, and that's a pretty good defensive unit over there in the Chicago Bears.
We kind of touched on it, but Jesse, Andy says as well, he says, what needs to be done to fix the red zone issues? Hail Marys are nice, but we should have hammered these guys well before that.
Yeah, we should have. We should have. And that's just, I'm not a play caller or play designer. That's something that Cliff Kingsbury and company is going to have to figure out. But it does have to get figured out. A couple games, this game and the game against New York is troubling. One thing about it is New York at that time had a really good defense. They've had some injuries, but Chicago has a good defense too. But we're going to need to figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to get short in the stick in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think I say I want to see a little bit more play action. I want to see a little more play action. Fake the run. With B-Rob, especially in short yardage. In the last 10 yards of the game in the red zone there. And also say so a lot more kind of play action type plays, and also say some misdirection runs as well. That'll be something different that we haven't been doing a lot of.
Yeah, so. No, good shout, mate. Craig would like to know, Scouse, should we buy before the deadline? And if so, what is our biggest need? I would have said cornerback previously, but I think wide receiver. And if there's a shot at a legit wide receiver, then we go out and get him. Field goals will not always be enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point, but in saying that, Noah Brown was actually quite poor yesterday. He dropped one right in the breadbasket, and he dropped it. I mean, it's things like that. Then you start to question: do we have a good receiver room? But in overall, I say we've been putting loads of points up. It's just the odd game here and there. We're inconsistent because they're not the elite of the elite players. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get a drop off in certain games at certain times because these guys. Say Noah Brown was caught from the Texans. You know what I mean? So these are the kind of players we've got on our receiver room. So I can understand why he says, should we go and get a receiver? But for me, no. I think he's still stick with the same roster. I mean, Zacchaeus went all the way for touchdown, even though we got pulled back. So these guys can still get the points on the board, but in the right play, and no pre-snap penalties. But me, we mentioned before, it's got to be corner. It has to be a corner. That's right.
Don't forget McCaffrey almost had a touchdown too. Jaden was just a little bit late on that throw. I definitely don't think we need receiver at the trade deadline. That would be the last place I would go for. But absolutely 100% corner, and it's not close.
Yeah, it's not even close for me. Boys,
I'll be ringing Cleveland Browns right now. Hey, any chance of Denzel Ward? Any chance?
Denzel, Newsome. I'll take either or both. Give me both.
That'd be nice.
I'll give you 2/3. We got 2/3. Fuck him. You can have them both. Let's give them. Come on.
Yes, he's like, look at this guy now. We're 6-2. He's like,
we're buying now, baby. We're buying now. We're 6-2. We're buying.
Oh boy, boys, just in one word, sum up to me last night's game, Jesse.
Fuckfest.
That one word.
No, you can put it together, I suppose.
Yeah,
you put it together.
I'm dyslexic. I probably would put it together. Scouts, how are you summing up last night?
Relief.
Yeah.
Relief because we had it all game, and then we just messed it up at the end, and and your head's gone. My head was gone when they scored, and then to get it back right at the end was just insane. So relief.
Jesse had gone. He didn't even know we'd won.
and you're right, Scouts. After that 56-yard touchdown run from Swift really made the Bears have momentum. Momentum is real, and once that happened, it seemed like that we were done for.
Yeah, jubilation for me. I've never. We all have moments in sport, and I've spoke to many people about. I watched the Redskins win a Super Bowl. I was at the seat cushion game. We've had RG3 running down the sidelines, Heineke jumping for a pylon. Not much else really in our fandom. last night for me will stay with me forever. Oh, there's not you're not going to win a game like that. That's once in a lifetime thing, really. That if that ever happens again in our fandom, I'll be absolutely astonished. Not to say that it won't, but the jubilation that I felt when that touchdown went in, I didn't know if I wanted to run through a brick wall. I didn't know if I wanted to cry. I had to go and do the post game in my car because I woke up the entire street. It was just nothing that I have ever experienced as a Washington fan to that extent.
I mean, it is a 1% play, isn't it? Let's face
Yeah.
it. A Hail Mary.
It's a
It's a
Hail Mary.
1%
It's
play.
a Hail Mary for a reason, boys. And yeah, last night is. Let's hope we have that. Let's hope that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's hope that this team now this season goes on to have more moments like last night. Have playoff. Imagine that feeling of winning a home playoff game. Just
Right.
and people will sit here going, take one game at a time, but this is what being a fan is all about. You want to live for moments like last night. You want to the jubilation that I've experienced today as a Washington fan and seeing my fellow fans just constantly all day happy, giving shit to the Bears fans. I mean, the people that listen to this show will know that
Some of those fans made delusional, but that tells me though, as I'm talking about Chicago fans, I mean, it was so they obviously knew that Jaden is the better quarterback. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been going on about it all the way through all game week. They wouldn't have.
You wait till
I
he
mean,
wins
do you
Rookie
know
of the
that
Week again.
we're 4-0. We're 4-0 at home.
Mhm.
First time since 2005.
Mhm.
That were 4-0, and then since 6-2, first time since 2008. So, it's big strides, man. Big strides. There's things, as you mentioned, there's things that we've not really experienced
As fans.
for such a long time.
No. Just before we get out of here, boys.
Last time we were 6-2. We finished 2-6. Just remember that. But also Zorn was our coach too.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just before we get out,
don't put that in the minds, mate. Don't put that in the atmosphere. Don't do that.
Scott G can comment him in the comments. Just before we get out of here, boys, just want to give a big shout out to Troy Willett Hill, new listener to the bunker. Kindly tweeted us today. Hey Troy, welcome to the Madhouse. And Glenn Blackwell as well over here in the UK, new listener to the bunker. Seem to be gaining a lot of traction with some new listeners. Been glad he tweeting them backwards and forwards today. But yeah, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you checking our dulcet tones out. You can find us each and every Monday where we're talking Washington Commanders. But boys, our hour, pretty much our hour has come and gone. I hope we have many more nights like tonight. I'm hoping now this is the tip of the iceberg for this fan, and I don't care what people, again, I'll mention it, people will come at me, it's one game at a time, but this is why you're a fan of sports. This is why we're fans of the NFL. This is why we're fans of football. We live for moments like last night, today, the jubilation that we've had on social media, that we've had to sit here and talk about this game. This team deserve tremendous amount of credit. This coaching staff deserve a tremendous amount of credit. Our fans deserve a tremendous amount of credit because we have had to put up with some absolute torrid times as Redskins, as football team, as Commanders even. We won 4 games last year, like Scouts point out. We've eclipsed that already. I said we probably wouldn't win more than 4 this season. I'm glad he's eating some humble pie here. So full credit to everyone. Enjoy this moment. Soak it in. We will be back all again next Monday when we go over the New York Giants game. Hopefully sitting here talking about our team being 7-2. Like I said, you can find our podcast, our show. Just go onto YouTube, type in the Bunker Podcast, scroll down. You'll see the little Washington Commanders logo. Click on the like and subscribe and all that good stuff. You can find us on Apple. You can find us on Spotify, wherever you get a podcast. You can just type in the Bunker Podcast. Our link tree's in our bio, at Commander Bunker on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. Just search the Bunker Podcast. But Jesse, thanks so much, my man. I know you've got to go and you're going to go and record the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. Give Taman hell as always for us, please.
Absolutely.
Scouse, a pleasure as always, my man. Your hat got some great feedback, so let's see if we can get some more love this week for all those that are watching on YouTube. But Scouse, thanks as always, my man. I know you've just set up a new business venture. Please go make sure anyone will get Scousey to tweet out the link. Good luck with the business, my man. It's never easy setting up a new thing. You're doing great things. Good luck,
Thank you.
brother. Keep it
Appreciate
going,
it.
my man. Back with the one. Hartley, I think he's gone to Turkey to get his hair done. I think Scott Hartley is currently
And
in
his teeth. Don't
Turkey.
forget his teeth
But
as
he's
well.
getting,
yeah.
he's currently getting, and he bottled it last night, by the way. I offered him $100 to jump in a swimming pool for the Hog Farmers charity, and he shit his pants.
And he wouldn't
I was
do
good.
it.
I
Wouldn't
would
do
have
it.
done it.
Yeah. I mean, we would
Being
have,
honest,
you
would
know,
have.
yeah, Hartley, but he shit the bed. God bless him. But yeah, he's over getting his hair transplant, so I hope that all goes well for Hartley. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. We'll be back next week,
He'll be
everyone.
wearing
But
hats soon.
he will be. But this has been another episode of The Bunker. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with the amazing Jesse Martin and Scouse, Mr. Andy Lockhart himself. Till next time, everybody, bunker down. Stay safe. Fuck you, Chicago Bears.